Alright everyone, welcome back. So, our trade deadline previews continue on today with the Los Angeles Kings. So, the Kings are a team that I view as very interesting because there was a point where they really struggled. They seem to be back on track. It's just a matter of what moves do you make at the deadline to sustain that success after the really struggle that was January. Getting my months mixed up. Anyways, as of right now, the Kings are currently 28, 17, and 10 for 66 points, and they are 4th overall in the Pacific Division. They were a team that, even though they were third in that Pacific Division, and Vegas and Vancouver were still relatively far away from them, they had a pretty comfortable cushion between them and Seattle and Calgary and Edmonton at that point, heading into the month of January, even though there were some late December struggles. Then January came along. They went 5-8-3 or a record somewhere along those lines, and they fell to a wild card spot, which is where they are right now. Now, it's not fully their fault. Edmonton also didn't lose a single game during the month of January when the Kings struggled, so obviously that plays a factor there too. But, obviously they fired head coach Don McClellan, and now you're looking at, well, what moves can we make at the deadline here to really sustain our case? Because the expectation was, up until the firing, was that if, let's say they lose in the first round for the third straight year, McClellan will be fired for sure. And maybe Rob Blake. Blake was a possibility, and Blake even said that he would take accountability for the actions of what's happened in LA. So, for sure, that is something that might happen still, very possible. As of cap space, they have only a little under $2,000, which is $1.9 thousand in projected cap space. Now, I would not mind $2,000. Just saying, but that's not enough to put a hockey team together. Obviously, that's not all of the money they have. I'm sure they have more money that is able to move, and the LTIR money and all that good stuff, but regardless, that is their projected cap space. So, your UFAs and RFAs as of right now, you got your UFA list, which is Trevor Lewis, Matt Waugh. I get both Waughs mixed up. Cam Talbot, David Riddick, Victor Arvidsson, and Phoenix Copley. So you look at those couple of names there. Trevor Lewis was signed here as a veteran, a fourth liner, played his 1,000th game this season. Is a guy that I imagine will walk at free agency. I think he might even retire. To be honest with you, he's probably going to be a guy that probably retires when you look at that. Matt Waugh. Sorry, Kings fans. I don't mean to confuse you with a Knights player. Matt Waugh is a player that has been playing not bad defense, a pretty solid defensive defender. Doesn't get a lot of points, but is a guy that I think they would keep around. Cam Talbot is an interesting one, and all three of our goalies, once again, are expiring this year. They have been in talks, and I'll get into it in a little bit. They have been in talks in acquiring another goalie. They have. They've been in talks in acquiring another goaltender potentially. I've seen some rumors of Jose Saros. Not saying that will happen, but it's a possibility. And obviously, you see all three of your goalies expiring this year. You want a goalie with term. So, Cam Talbot and Riddick have been two very good goalies this year. However, there's some question as to, are they goalies that can get us far in the playoffs? They don't really have a good track record of doing that. When you look at both Talbot and Riddick's histories, they don't have a good track record of that. A lot of what those two goalies have featured is first round exits, more or less. And LA's trying to be a team that gets past that. So obviously, I don't blame them for looking for another goalie, even though these two goalies have been solid this season. Arvidsson has been a pretty effective forward. He is injured currently. I imagine he stays. I would imagine. We'll find out, obviously. And then Copley, too, a third-string goalie. Yeah, I'm sure the Kings wouldn't mind if he left or stayed. It depends. I'm sure they wouldn't mind keeping him around. But obviously, we'll find out there. Your RFA list is a lot more interesting names. You got Carl Grundstrom, Quinton Byfield, Arthur Kaliev, Alex Turcotte, Dret Anderson-Dolan, Jordan Spence, and Blake Lizotte. So we'll start off with Grundstrom. Grundstrom been a more or less third liner as a younger forward than usual. Will probably be signed, I would imagine. Byfield's been good this year. Byfield in a career year, in fact, has been playing very well, and that's kind of something to look into. When you look at Byfield, you might want to be interested to see, well, when you sign the contract next season, he could fall back down to earth. Possible. But he's been better than usual this year for sure. Kaliev hasn't been the best this year. I imagine he stays, though. Turcotte, I know there's the rumors there with him getting moved, but he's gone through so many injury issues and just so much problems that now he's coming back into the NHL, scored his first NHL goal at the end of January, and now things are starting to look better for him, so I imagine he stays. I don't think he gets traded unless there's some massive deal that presents itself. Dolan, been a solid younger defender, will get signed. Jordan Spence really coming into his own. Not a bad defenseman out there either. And Blake Lizott's been injured for the majority of this year. I wouldn't be surprised if they keep or let him go. We'll find out. What are your needs if you're the LA Kings? Now, if I made this video at the beginning of February and not towards the end of it, I probably would have told you that they kind of need a little bit of everything right now. They kind of need, I thought they needed a trade to more or less swing momentum here for this team. They could use a top 6 forward. They could use a top 6 defender. They could use a goalie. They could use, honestly, all 3 of these. They've been interested in all 3 of them. And I don't blame Rob Blake for looking at the trademark here a little bit and trying to go out there and get some assets. I don't blame him at all. I would do the same thing. So I've seen them into some top 6 forwards, like maybe even Jake Gensel. I've seen them interested in some top 4 defensemen, like even Chikrin. And then as well as that too, Jose Saros. So they've been interested in a lot of guys. Now, what are your movable pieces if you're the LA Kings? You got your 2024 first round pick. And I do factor in Alex Turcotte. If a deal presents itself, then I'm sure they pull the trigger. But I doubt it. I severely doubt it. If a deal presents itself, then they would. But I don't think they would trade him. I don't think it's smart to. In fact, because he's a guy who has dealt with a lot of injuries throughout his career, and now he's coming into the NHL into his own, and doesn't look too bad. So hopefully things continue that way for the young forward in Turcotte. But yeah, that is your 2024 deadline preview. They can more or less use kind of anything right now. I think you're more or less looking for a top 6 forward to add to that top 6. The center core is deep, so it's probably going to be a winger. A defenseman wouldn't be bad either. And then, obviously, too, you might want to look for a goalie. Because, I mean, Talbot isn't the most reliable goalie to be your starter in the playoffs. Just saying off of history. So, obviously, we'll find out if that happens. But anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like. Hit that subscribe button down below. I greatly appreciate it. I would love some. Thank you. Anyways, thank you all for watching. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.